let's get started then. Let's go ahead and do our idea exam prep. So let me share my screen first and foremost. So go ahead and download this data. It's the idea exam prep. This is very similar to your exam. If you nail this, then you'll nail your exam, unless you make an awful mistake. Like a simple mistake, like an ID10T error. An ID10T error. Have you ever had an ID10T error? No? You don't know the... No? So somebody buys a computer, right? I don't think I should be making this joke. Well, we all have them, right? So somebody bought a computer, right? And then they call the 1-800 number. They're like, oh, I can't open it. I can't, can't turn it on. They're like, oh, press this button, press that button. And then they're like, they just simply can't. They're like, oh, I turned it on. Well, how do I open the internet? I'm like, oh, you just gotta go click on the Windows and then go Explorer back then in the day. And they just couldn't do it. And then say, well, let me run some numbers over here. What's your serial number? It's like, oh, they can't get the serial number. It's like, oh, let me see if I can send an actual signal to you. And they're like, oh, I just ran an analysis. Go ahead and type this, all you got to do is put the computer back in the box and say that you had an ID10T error and ID10T user error and send it back. And they're like, okay, so the guy just kind of does that and notepad. Let's say, okay, that's an ID10T user error. Yes. What? What? Somebody's laughing. Am I not sharing my screen? I don't know if the joke was like that. Chris, can you help me?
I saw it. Yeah, you're sharing your screen. ID10T, idiot user.
Is it working?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if this is working, you guys. Oh, yeah. This is so annoying. So you want to type the ID10T user on your computer? And anywhere, just anywhere. Yeah. I don't get it. Why is this? No, you just gotta type it. Oh, yes. You gotta look down to yourself, yes. I was told to jump. What? Yeah, two screens. What about in the lab? But then how would you have them on? And just have a monitor? You mean the lab? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gotta use the CSV, you guys, because Excel didn't work, right? Yeah, just do the CSV. It's annoying. You could probably do a database. Yeah, but you still have to do one by one. So why is it that I can't show this computer?
An external project.
Hmm?
External project? Are you creating? Are we not creating?
Yeah, it's a new project
It says managed project or external project.
on your idea.
When I'm creating a new project, somebody choose.
Oh, just a new project. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, guys, I'm gonna put you on into two groups of. So here you have. Are you guys working together? Okay. When the and tell me something. And all the good times I have. Oh, change. A sus órdenes. Yes. It's still a number, right? So. Okay, guys, let's get this done. So, bottom records should give you 23 million. Who got that amount? Okay, let's do it again. Let's make sure that you keep the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You didn't change any of the So the very first thing that I like you to do is go to sales. Make sure your control total is the sales total. You always want to make sure that you have a control total that I can relate to, right? Because that's how I'm going to be grading. I can't see the 1,000 records you got to extract or 100 records, right? So the only way to know that you got it right is by making sure that you match the control total. Let me know if I'm sharing my screen over there, guys. Am I sharing my screen?
No.
Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. Boom. So your sales total, control total should be $4.9 billion, ending with 281. Everybody's with me? Yes? Yes? All right.
Yep.
Let's play then. Are you ready to play? No? We're good? Okay. What do you mean is there a prize? If we do this right, you could probably get 100 on this exam. Okay, let's go. Let's go. 251, you guys. I know we're getting hungry, particularly me, even though I have a lot of research. Let's see what's happening the rest of the day. Nope. Canceling office hours today. Gonna go great. Okay, so let's do an extract. Can somebody give me the instructions? The lowest 100 sales transactions for my last name Parra. So in order to get the lowest or the highest, you can go to the analysis and do the, not the direct, but the top records. All right? Top records. How many? 100. Bottom records. I love it, right? Criteria. Sales rep is equal. Use the double quote, double equal, guys. That makes it exactly that. Otherwise, you're saying like you can start with, right? Unquote, you're gonna put Parra. Validating it. Are you looking at me? Are you looking at me? Looking at me? Looking at me? Yes. I used the double quotes right there. Okay. Let's press yes and press OK. Bottom 100.
We actually put the field earlier. Do that.
You can start typing it. It is case sensitive. It is case sensitive, you guys. You can select it like this, and it would throw it in there by double clicking on the bottom, right? Like sales rep. Yes.
I'm talking about. Yeah, right there was this field I clicked on accident.
Oh, then you gotta delete the field. So do not group by anything. Okay, are you ready? Press OK. Boom. Oh, bottom records 4. Sales total.
Professor, do you mind
Yes.
running through that one more time? I'm sorry. My connection got a little unstable.
Recording.
What part did you miss?
First the bottom 100 records.
Okay, so you look doing the bottom records, 100, bottom records based on sales total. You're doing a criteria, right? You're saying only select the bottom of those that have a sales rep. So you notice that as soon as I start sales are equal to Parra, case sensitive, validated. That's it.
And then where did you click on to get the extraction?
You have to disconnect one of your audios, by the way. It's gonna be here. So it's on the top records analysis. Super chill, chill, chill. I also need like a moving table. Yeah. So I can teach like in the middle
Wait,
and just have a podium.
it was top records analysis.
Are you in Moss Adams? Oh, that's right. Okay. So
Wait.
your deal should be 23 million with 476. Pablo, are you there? Raise your hand if you're there. Are you ladies there? Yes? Gentlemen and ladies. Yeah. I didn't see what up? Richard? You're already working on the second. Okay, anybody on chat that got stuck? Can we move to the next one?
Wait, Professor, the criteria is sales rep equals.
The criteria is going to be your sales representative equals Parra, right? Case sensitive Parra, capital
Space.
P.
Space equals Parra, or
No. Double quotes Parra. When you build it, build it with this so it's easier, right? Then you do the quotes. Parra. Okay, guys, I got to move on to the next one. Let's go ahead and do the next one. Create an extract of the top 100 sales transactions based on the year 2017. So where am I going to go? Top records of the top 100 sales transactions, right? So top 100 based on sales revenue. On your total. What are the parameters that were given for the year 2017? So this could be something like for your sales rep, for your item, right? Think of all the dimensions I could give you there for the year 2017. So how do we do the criteria, guys? Sales date is equal to, is it equal? I guess I could say the year function. I don't know if there's a function that goes to year. Let me go find date. I guess I could say year at year of sales date is equal to 2017. At year of sales date is equal to 2017. That's one option, right? How did I do this? Again, at year, open parentheses. Okay, so one equal sign is if you are willing to do a like. So when you do a one equal sign, idea is going to say this is the beginning of whatever word you have starts with that. So if you just do one equal sign, you say Parra, then it would bring Parra, Parras, Parra Reyes, etc. It's exactly Parra. The entire field will be Parra. So here, oh, that's just on character stuff. Yeah, it's just with strings. So here's the definition of when to use it, right? For character fields. So it only makes a difference for character fields. Everything else, you could just use the equal sign. So sales date is equal to 2017. I made a mistake here, right? Let's validate it. Okay, so I guess we're ready. I think we're ready. And these are gonna be tops 2017. No, 2017 tops. Huh? Not yet. The 2017 top sell transactions would be okay. Let's go see them. Let's go find out if it's true. So yeah, they're from all over and the year is only 2017. So it worked, right? My control total is the sales total. And what I got was 235 million with $5. If you get this, then you're good. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Good. Good catch. Okay, guys. I'm going to keep answering this question and then I'm going to tell you what we missed from the previous question in a second. All right. Which is the result. Ouch. Yes, we got the result. But before we do that, let's go into the 1A. 2.1, I'm sorry, 2.1. Provide the balance due on these transactions. So how are we going to do this? Let me ask you how we're going to do this. I'm going to open the breakout room. So we have to join this table with another table, right? We're saying here are the sales, here are the payments. From the subset of those sales that were recorded as the top 2017 transactions, we want to see which ones were paid. So we do a join, keeping the transactions that I want to see, the 2017 transactions on the top as primary, right? What do I join it with? That's the next question. Payments. Payments received. Any criteria on the 2017 sales transactions? We could have done an extract here, like just join those that are by Parra, those by this in this state, right? We could apply it here if you wanted. You could say all those that are, well, we don't have, all of them are sales. So we don't have payments in there, right? So then let's go ahead and do the matching next. Well, let's name this. 2017 top sales balance due. Then we do the matching. And what do we match? Why sales order number, guys? What is the primary key of both tables?
Primary key for sales is sales order number. And there's also
all right, so if I look at the secondary table, the primary key for the secondary table is payments ID. That's not what we want because on the primary, there's not going to be payments ID, right? So we want the primary of the primary key of the primary table, which is going to be sales order number, and whatever it corresponds to in the second, which is the sales order number as well. We press OK. And now here comes the big question. Which is the union type? Matches only would only show those that have a payment. So incorrect. I'm going to yield the floor to somebody else. Records with no secondary match would be all of those that have no payments. So let's go first to yours and then to Allison's. Records with no secondary match would say those that have no payments. Well, what if I made a partial payment? So the way you could do that is either on both or all records in primary file. Because you're getting all the records regardless of the payments plus the payments. When you want to do the balance and you want to have a complete picture, you want the complete circle. The yellow circle here, let me zoom in. The yellow circle that's going to pop up represents the cells. It's gone. Right? So I escaped out of it. So I'm gonna have to do it again real quick. So this is the right one. Because I don't want all the payments. I don't want all the payments, right? I don't want all the payments. I don't want payments for stuff that's not in there. I don't want $4,200 worth of 4,200 payment transactions. I just want those transactions that belong to the primary file. So this is the right one. Otherwise, you have to filter and filter. So then that's it. I just press OK. And what am I missing? Oh, I still haven't done the match. Your control total should be 235,671,005. That means that nothing's changed so far. Now, what do we need to do? We need to create a new field. So we're going to append it to say balance to. It is going to be a virtual numeric. And what are going to be the parameters? Should I go to Nicole? How do I find the balance to? Sales total minus the payment amount. You get a point. Yes. Yeah, isn't that the balance due? What's the balance due, you guys? Sales total minus payment amount. You should not have me freeze the screen for so long, right? You know that one field contains the invoice total, one contains the payment. The difference gives you the balance due. Look at this data here. There's some that have some payments and they still have balance, meaning that the payment that they made was partial. There's some that are fully paid. That's why they have zeros, right? And there's going to be some that don't have any payments at all. That means that you would have missed those if you had done a different joint statement. Does that make sense? So let me say this again real quick, if I can get Richard back. Oh, as soon as you guys are done. Alex, did you clarify the question? Si bueno, si? Okay, so if I had done the matches only, right, I would only have gotten those that have a payment amount. And so those without a payment like this would be gone, would not show up. Yes? So matches only would have been incorrect because it would be missing these three amounts.
And we still have to do it as a filter, or just to create the balance due column?
No, we're going to do a balance to column. Hold on a second. We're going to change the control total in a second. If I had done only those that are payments, then I would have missed all. Since there's some payments, if I had done all the payments and not all the invoices, it looks like you would have gotten a bunch of payments that are not even related to the top 100, right? The way we did it is proper. Now, I like you to change, since we're talking about control balance two. I'm sorry, we were talking about balances, then your control should be changed to balance two. That way I can verify if you have the right balance. And you should have $31,636,892. And if you do, bravo, you're getting that. And that's the answer. You got 893? It's
How
possible.
did you append it, Professor?
How do I append it? Fields, data, fields, append. Name the field. And parameter. You probably didn't have I'm gonna do it again. Parameter is gonna be total. So the reason why it's possible that you have 893, you may have missed the periods. Yeah. Make sure you have decimals here. With some sense, Okay, great. All right, guys, so how do you save this as a response? Because that's what I've been getting, like, how do we do the next? We do the history, right? So this is how you're gonna show me that you did this right. Number one, most likely I'm gonna ask you for a little screenshot of this, including your balance too. Your control total should be in there, and it should reflect something that I asked. No, I'm probably gonna be very specific. I want the control total based on your balance to field, right? Or I want the control total based on the number of items or the total sales. So I'll be very specific as to what control total I want, right? So that has to be done. And then to submit your response, all you got to do, I'm not going to ask you to submit all your file, like this entire idea file, like you would normally do it in when you submit an audit. All I want is your history, expand it, see right next to the filter. And if you're at home, this should be like the 101 for this exam. Make sure you know that you have to expand this 100%. Not this one, not that one, not this one, but the whole thing, where I can see every single item. And then you're gonna export it to just the PDF. And then this would be first name, last name, initials, -02, right? And that's it. Notice that for my first bottom 100s, I did not do the same. So we forgot to do that. I forgot to do that. So I would do the same thing here. I go to history, make sure that I expand this. Once I expand this on the next to the filter, then I'm gonna export PDF. And that should be my F01. What does this have, guys? Well, this has everything. It has specific information here that matches stuff that I plugged into your data. So that's how I know you worked on your data, not somebody else's. All right? That's how I'm also able to grade you. Without this, I won't see the steps that he took. So this is important because this is a script that is being done, right?
Is that also how you want us to turn in the exam prep?
Yes, the text files or the PDFs.
All right.
You can also do text files as well if you want. So you can do this. In your exam, you will. It's not on this. So for this, I just need the text files. Yes?
So for the screenshots, do you just want like a control photo of the screenshot or like the whole data?
You cannot do that for the entire database, right? So for this assignment, let me change this to a PDF file, you guys.
So we're submitting this stuff in, right?
Yeah, you are. Let me make sure this is a PDF file. It's less confusing. In your exam, I may ask you for text files, but for now, let's just make a PDF.
It's gonna be initial and the number of the problem, right?
Oh, for questions, provide a screenshot of data displaying the relevant control. So, I don't need you to do this. I don't need to do this. I'm gonna say the words. No screenshots necessary for the practice. Your exam will require. So here's what I'm going to say. They're not required, but your exam will require them. So if you want to practice as to how you do it, that would be great. What do I need? Just a copy of your control total.
So should I screenshot like the whole window or?
Yeah, the whole window would be great.
Hey, Professor. Professor.
Yeah, where's Brianda today?
I have a question. So like when I try to export as PDF, it says cannot start print job, but when I do it as a text file, it works.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead as a text file.
Okay.
No problem, Ricky. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
I can get up. Oh, wow. Yeah, cancel. What's happening? Let me see, go down. Okay, export. PDF. College stocks. Put them in a place where you know. Okay. Just go P. PJ or peanut butter and jelly? Yeah. You do. That's for. See? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's okay. Just do a text file. The same, when you export, just choose a text. My breath is killing me. My own breath is killing me. Woo.
Well, a little clarification. So when the question is asking random or selection, right? And then there's like other criteria.
You continue until the end.
So not.
Correct. Correct. Notice that I say create history PDF file at the end of where I need it. Does that make sense? So the question, guys, was by Richard was, when do we create this history PDF file?
When do you start?
When do you create it? You create it at the end because it will capture everything along the way before you got there. Notice that for this second question, you created first the extract of the top transactions, and then from there you joined it. If you actually read the history of that transaction, you gotta start from the beginning, from the time you imported that data, and everything you use, anything you clarified, anything you corrected is gonna be kept in everything.
So every problem's gonna have its own PDF on it.
Every problem is gonna have its own PDF, yes. Let's
Oh,
say that again.
that text file is okay.
Yeah, text file is fine. Okay, guys, let's create a random selection of 50 sales transactions using the seed number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I feel like we're running out of time though. We got 20 minutes and we got 3 to go. So we got to move a little faster. Do you want me to keep recording this? Or give you a chance to try on your own? Okay. So looking at the cells, I'm going to do an analysis of a random selection of how many transactions? 50. And we've done this before, right? Using the number C 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes?
Random, right? Example.
Yes, under analysis, random sample on the side. 50 transactions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to call this just 3. Random sample. Random 50. There you go. Random 50. Are you ready? Where did I get this from? Under sample, specifically under analysis. Random 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm getting all the records, right? I'm gonna press OK. And then I have a number 50. Boom. All right, we're done. My control total for this should be 49,112 at the end. 49,356,1112. I mean 112. Yes, mucho bueno. Okay. So now that we have that, what's the next step? Provide the balance due on these transactions. What's the balance due? How do I do this? I'm going to join this with which one? Payments. How do I match them? Sales order, both of them. All right. What am I going to call this? Random 50 balance. Balance due. This is typical, right, of what you do in an audit. Let's make sure that everything is paid accordingly. So you get a list of records randomly selected. Then you see if they're paid. And then you go and find out if in fact they're paid. You're gonna ask for documentation from your client to see if in fact, number one, if you're checking the accounts receivable validity, right? The valuation of that. If you're checking the completeness of it as well. And you're verifying that the payments are actually posted. Okay, so again, all records in primary file. Press OK. What happens next for a point? Let me give it to the Zoomers. What happens next?
You got to create your balance due field. You have to append it.
Absolutely. We're going to do append a balance due field with 2 decimals where my parameter is going to be sales underscore total
minus payment amount.
payment amount, right? I could go in there and verify it. That would be easier. But I'm trying to save time. I could use the builder like in Access, right? What am I gonna do next? I'm gonna switch.
Hey, Professor,
Yes.
when you match the key field, those primary sales order number, right? I mean, to the sales order for like when you join the databases.
Yes. Sales order to sales order. Yes, Karanvir.
Okay, got it.
Yes. If you recall from your UML, payments and sales are gonna be joined by the sales ID. Because the reality is that every cell will have a payment, at least one. And the way you identify where the payment goes is you look at the sales order ID in the database. And that's how we're gonna find out. Now, I also need to change my control total to my balance too. So you should have about 18 mil with 40 cents. If we did it right. So when I'm grading, I'm looking at the top and the bottom part. Right? So this is one. Now let's do an aging report. Let's do an aging report for this. Because we are being asked to do a valuation of our accounts receivable. So we took a random sample. We're gonna see the aging report based on that sample and see if it matches. If we have a problem with valuation, then we've got to redo the whole thing. But for now, we're just gonna take that sample and see if they're keeping these accounts receivable off the books when it's time to keep them off the books, right? So I am gonna go do an analysis of aging. Where is that? It's in the categorization because we're categorizing transactions by buckets of dates. And the question that I'm being asked is, as of 1/1/2019. So aging date is gonna be 2019-01/01. One criteria that I'm gonna ask is that if they're paid, they don't need to be aged anymore, right? So the balance due, let me just open it right here. The balance due should be greater than 0. Isn't that true? Again, in my criteria, I only want those transactions aged if the balance due is greater than 0. If they're 0, then I don't need to age them, right? Super important. You don't want to you don't want to age stuff that's already been paid. That's gonna throw off your numbers. The aging date, let me just plug it in here. There you go, 2019-01/01. Oh, I didn't give you specific transactions on this, but let's do it by years. And I'm gonna generate a detailed aging database, or just I can create a result, whichever way. This is to create a result, that's it. So I switch it to years, that's not in the instructions, so let me modify that. Let's press OK. And now we see that there's no transactions that are current, that are from 2019. The first year, we have 13 transactions, and we can click on these transactions, by the way, to see what they are. These are all 2018s. Then you have these that are from 2017 and so forth. I could also look at the statistics and see, you know, what is the typical? Now, look at these. We have about 50, almost 66% of the records are coming from transactions that occurred more than a year ago. They should not be on your valuation there. Percent of value right here. Only 37.5% of those transactions are current. The rest should be written off.
Okay, I'll even get this.
What do they say? Maybe I made a mistake. Let me try it again. Yeah, let's find out. Let's make sure that I don't have a mistake, you guys. Aging. So this is 2019, 0101. Criteria is balance. Oh, I didn't change some of the stuff, you guys. Thank you. It's greater than 0, right? Aging field to use, sales date. Amount field to total, it should be the balance too. So I made a mistake here, you guys. Thank you for catching it. I don't know if I switched it before. And this should be years. Yeah, if you want to go back to, you just, this is not a new report, it's just a report that goes on the fly. So you just go back to categorize aging, and then you redo it like this. Okay, so let me reconfirm. Date should be as of the date that you're being asked to do, right? It's not today's date. We're looking at a transaction. We're doing an audit of the end of 2018. So we're obviously going to roll back the date to 2019. Maybe by this time things may have gotten paid, but we want to look at as of that date if the financial statements provided were accurate, right? So if somebody paid like in 2020, well, yeah, that's great. But as of the end of 2018, those financial statements should have shown all those transactions in accounts receivable that are at least older than 2 years, if not older than 1, to be written off. There should be a disclaimer that says normally we get 50% of recovery. There's got to be a policy if you're following that. The sales date is the agent field to use, because we want to see from the time they sold, not from the time they paid. Some of them haven't even paid, right? And the amount field to total should be the balance too. That's what we're interested in. Not the invoice total, because they may have already paid part of it. And that's it. Thank you. I went too fast on that. So now you should have the real balance. Thank you. All right. So thankfully, right? Thankfully, I mean, you still have about 60, from 39 transactions, 26 transactions were past the first year, even though it's not that much of a value. Well, so I'm a little more relieved, because about 73% of the account is actually current, and about 26.6 should be written off. This is very material. I would then probably recommend that you do an entire assessment of all their AR and have them reinstate, qualify their statements. This is horrible, right? This is horrible. You'd qualify their statements. Right there. Unless their accounts receivable only showed this amount, 13.495, right? And that would be different. Okay, so then let's go to the data history, right? And do the same thing. Most likely on this aging, I would ask you to take a screenshot of that aging report, right? Okay, let's go to the next one. Create a summary of the sales and payment by customer ID. Determine if any of these customers have exceeded their credit line. Woo! I don't know if we can do it in 5 minutes. Let's do number 5 first. Provide an extract of any sales transactions that exceed $100,000. That's a very simple one. So let's do it very quickly. Let's do a direct extract under sales. Apparently I didn't grab the sales. So let's go to direct extract of sales transactions that exceed 100,000. So we're going to call this what do you want to call it? Large sales. And our criteria would be, give me the criteria. Somebody for a point. What do I start with? What? So sales total, I think. Says total. It's greater than 1, 1, 2, 3. Right? Boom. That's it. And your control total should be 4 billion with $179 at the end. Was that easy? Okay, now let's do the next one. Number 4. Obviously, you're gonna extract this on your own. Let's do number 4 now. Create a summary of the sales and payments by customer ID. So let's do this. Let's do a summarization of all the sales by customer ID, which would be account number. Let's do the sales total, and we're going to call this sales. Sales by account. Summarization. I'm going to summarize by account number. And what am I summing? The sales total. So I'm summarizing by account number. I'm going to group all of the transactions by each customer. Then I'm going to see the sales total. That's what I'm summing. Then I'm going to press OK, sales by account. I'm going to do the same thing with payments. So from payments received, I'm going to do a summarization again by account number. I'm going to summarize the payment amount. I'm summing the payment amount. And I'm going to call these payments by account. So again, I went to analysis, summarization under the categorize section. I summarize by account. Payments by account would be the name of the database I'm creating, where I'm going to sum the payment amounts. And I'm going to press OK. If I were to choose a control total of the sum of payment amounts, it should be the same as your payments, right? Like that amount of your payments by account or sales by account should be the same as the original. That's how you verify this. Is my summary the same, 281, as my sales? Yes. Are my payments, 3 billion payments, the same as this? Yes. You see, 402, 402. Are you with me? So we didn't lose anything in the transaction. Now the question is, wow. The question is gonna be, did we exceed the credit limit? So first, what we gotta do is join these two. Let's go with the sales first. Sales by account. Let me do a join with payments by account. How are we gonna match them? Using the account ID. And we're gonna call these account balances. I want all the records in my primary file. Remember, we want all the cells and then minus those that have payments. I'm gonna press OK. I'm also gonna create a new field. And I'm recording this, I hope. Am I recording this?
Yes.
Thank you. So account balance. And that's a virtual numeric field where I'm gonna call this sales total minus payment amount total. I just double click that. I don't have to type it either. And then that's it. That's my account balance. I'm gonna switch this control total to my account balance because that's gonna be an important way for me to grade this. You should all have 1.225404 and some change with 879. So it's a there's $1 billion worth of $1.225 billion worth of balances on these statements. Now from this place, I'm gonna do an analysis with another join. And I'm gonna bring the customer's file. And then I'm gonna say, all records in primary file. So from the balance, I bring the customers. I'm gonna match the customer's ID or the account number, which is the customer ID, right? I'm doing all this by account. And we're gonna call this credit limit. Credit limit analysis. So we're analyzing whether we're following controls. If we have a credit limit and things need to be authorized against a credit limit and somebody owes more money than the credit line, then we have no controls, right? Then our audit should be a little more detailed if that is the case. So all records on primary file matching my look at this. There's some customers that have an account balance that don't even have a customer ID. I mean, they have no credit limit. Something's up. There's some people that actually overpaid, like this guy's right here. See this? These folks paid more than they're sold. So we owe them some credit. Let me do a criteria real quick. Let me do a filter and say from the account balance. How do I filter, you guys? I can apply criteria that says account balance has to be greater than 0. All right. So now I have all those that have an account balance. Now I gotta check whether they went above the credit limit. So
What was the filter you created right now?
I created a filter by looking at the account balance above zero. Then I'm gonna append a field that says above, let's call this over credit balance. Or credit limit balance. And the way we're gonna calculate this is by saying, what is my account balance? Right? Minus my credit limit. And if it's positive, that means we went over the credit limit, right? So we should all have negatives. So then I gotta do another criteria because the question here says, determine if any of these customers have exceeded their credit line. I could do, if you wanted to, you could do another if statement in there, or you can just filter it again. How do you filter? You go to the criteria and say, and over credit limit balance, right, is higher than zero. So we want them to have an account balance of higher than zero. We also want to make sure that if they're over the credit line, then they're also reported. And I'm going a little fast because the class is technically over. So now let's change our control total to our over the credit limit balance. And this is the way it should be. So let's look at the statistics real quick. From 5,000 records, I mean, if you're doing an audit, this is what you're doing, right? You're going in, you're diving in, you're finding out what's happening. We have 27 number of records, 1,027 positive value. How many positive records do we have? Over the credit limit. How many of them are positive, you guys?
219.
Number of positive records. There's 219 companies that are above their credit limit. And it looks like it's 965. Let me close this. Let me go back to the data. I could create an extract of this and just so that I can just have those records. I could just say, give me the data of a direct extract. I could go back to my analysis and say, give me a direct extract. And I could keep the same balance, right? Over the limit clients. So then this would only, this would solidify. When you do a criteria, you're only filtering, but you're not extracting them. You're just hiding the rest of the data. When you extract it, then you have a new data set. So this new over the limit clients would be the actual answer, where you have all of this already saved in just one file. Everything else is deleted, right? So now my over the credit limit is exactly what it should be, which is 151,480.98. Let me see if that was the same as this. Same. So the credit limit changes with the filter, but now when I do the statistics, then I'll see exactly what that's worth for those 219. There's $151 million owed that are over the limit. So if you're being asked how much over the limit is it in your accounts, this will be it. Obviously, for your exam, everybody's going to have individualized data, which makes it very interesting and very fantastic, right?
You created the direct extract. What did you use for the criteria?
I used the exact same thing that was already in there from my credit limit analysis. So my account balance should be greater than 0 and my credit limit balance should be greater than 0. If I have something filtered and then I go into my direct extract, it copies that over. You see that on here and here? It already copies it over.
Oh, it's good. I can change my Excel photo.
Yeah. All right, guys, it's exciting. Not too rough, right? Not too rough. I'm gonna stop the recording.